Terror struck Turkey's busiest airport at Istanbul last night. At least 38 people are feared dead and more than 100 injured. In fact, at least 3 terrorists attacked the airport, opening fire before blowing themselves up in the Kemal Ataturk International Airport. The police fired shots to try to stop 2 of the attackers just before they reached a security checkpoint at the arrivals hall, but they detonated their explosives. Most of those dead are Turkish nationals. However, a number of international travelers could be among those dead as well. There's no news, however, of any Indian casualties. This is the second major attack, remember, on an international airport. 16 had died in a suicide attack on Brussels airport on 22nd March. The Istanbul attack too is thought to be the handiwork of Islamic State. And while the suicide attack in Istanbul has been caught on camera, the suicide bombers first opened fire and then blew themselves up. Here's a report and a look at that chilling video. One of Europe's most busiest airports. It was a normal evening at Turkey's Istanbul airport until this happened. At 10:30 p.m. local time, 3 suicide bombers wreaked havoc at the Ataturk International Airport. The bombers opened fire before blowing themselves up, resulting in huge blasts at the airport. The entire incident caught on camera. Soon, there was chaos as the panic-stricken people ran for safety.
Silah sesi dediler ama ben duymadım. Silah sesi de olmuş. İçeri bir kişi taramış girmiş. Öyle dediler. 2 sefer de patlama olmuş. Ama sesini duydum ben. Tam dış hatlarda içerideydim ya. Dışarı gidenler galiba oldu bir şeyler, bilemiyorum ama ne kadar.
As the security forces arrived at the scene, portions of the airport were up in flames. There was a fierce gunfight between forces and the third attacker, an accomplice of the suicide bombers who fired from a parking lot. The injured were meanwhile rushed to hospitals.
But what we're seeing here is a mass of people, and of course not entirely people from this country. There's all sorts of international tourists who are either passing through, connecting here, or coming here for a holiday themselves. So there's many nationalities, and there is definitely a sense of bemusement, of concern, of worry. We are some way from the airport, but even so, it is a very tense scene.
All right, joining us live now is journalist Mohsin Moghal from Istanbul. Mohsin, explain to us exactly what happened, how the entire incident unfolded, how these suicide bombers also managed to enter that airport.
Ortalık karıştı. Well, the first reports of this attack came at around 10:30 p.m. In the night when we heard about an attack of a possible 2 attackers have managed to enter the Ataturk International Airport. Then, as the reports emerged, it was established it was not just 2 attackers; it was 3 of them. 3 of them first attacked the security personnel at the checkposts outside the airport itself. AK-47 rifles have been recovered from the scene of attack, so it is established that the intention behind the attack was not to straight away explode their explosive devices, but the intention of the attack was to hold into the airport, probably take hostages as well, but that was not to be the case. The security apparatus was effective at the last moment. That neutralized all the 3 attackers. The sequence of events unfolded like this. 3 attackers at around 10:30 p.m. Entered the premises of the Ataturk International Airport, which is a sensitive location. I'm going to tell you about that as well. But they entered at about 10:30 p.m. The first target was the security forces around the four lawns of the airport arrival and departure area and the parking area. The first explosion happened at the parking area when one of the attackers started firing at the security personnel there, who neutralized him, and at the last moment he exploded his explosive vest. The second attacker, meanwhile, in the process, was trying to reach out, was trying to get as close as possible to the departure lounge, but he was neutralized before he could get there, and that is when he exploded his vest, and that is when the second explosion took place. And the third explosion, not many details are known about that third explosion, but we know that in all 3 explosions took place. And there are several injured, there are several dead. The numbers could go up. All the hospitals in Istanbul at the moment, as I speak, are on alert. They are taking in injured people. They're taking in the families of the injured people who are actually looking for their kin at the moment. There's a lot of chaos, as I'm hearing from our sources at the airport and in the security agencies as well. The quick response that took place immediately after the attack is that the president and the prime minister held an emergency meeting in Ankara, and they called in their respective quick response teams as well, who are taking stock of the situation, of the security situation across the country as I speak.
Right, Mohsin. Clearly, of course, a terror breaking out at the Istanbul airport. Thanks for joining us with those details. As you pointed out, of course, it was twin blasts in the airport, and both of which have been caught on camera. India today has at least 3 videos of that horrific blast. Now, the first angle is possibly the most explicit. Take a look at these visuals. The bomber enters the frame. People realize what's happening. They're running around. Someone also seen shooting the bomber, after which he completely collapses. His rifle also bounces away from him. Now, for the next few moments in the CCTV footage, you don't see much happening. And then suddenly there is a huge explosion. There you go. That particular explosion is what we're talking about. Clearly, of course, he blew himself up right at that point. This is the second set of visuals that we're showing you now of the chaos that broke out inside the airport. People clearly heard the gunshots and began running for their lives. Only, of course, soon after that, there was an explosion that led to so many lives being lost. This was the second suicide bomber blowing himself up at the airport. So there you have it, yet another chilling visual that's come to light. Now you see what's playing out on your screens. This is another angle of that exact same moment. You see that particular explosion, how powerful it was, caught from another angle. The gunshots had already been heard in the arrival section of the airport. Passengers there were on alert. They were making a run for it. This was exactly when the bomber blew himself up, and clearly, of course, a number of people close by, and this reportedly caused the maximum number of casualties. This is the other angle of the same footage we saw earlier, where passengers are running for their lives.
Acele edin! Karıştı ortalık karıştı.